Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for June 6th, 2013. It's currently 8:30 a.m. We have winds shifting to the southeast as a storm starts to develop over the mid-Atlantic and southeast coast. That storm will, of course, be the combination of Tropical Storm Andrea and a area low pressure developing over the Mississippi River Valley. We have clouds increasing throughout the region and showers already pushing into western Pennsylvania. Temperatures range from the mid to upper 50s over the northern interior, upper 50s to lower 60s over the New York City metropolitan area, and lower to mid 60s along the immediate coast and the Philadelphia metropolitan area. We have a lot of moisture on the way and the potential for significant flash flooding throughout the entire Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. So let's break this down and let me show you what could lead to widespread heavy rain and what could save us. So first we're going to start with the infrared satellite picture. You can see Andrea over here developing, rapidly intensifying last night to a 60 mile per hour tropical storm. I should note the majority of the strongest winds are on the eastern side of this tropical storm. It's not what you would call an atypical tropical storm here. This right here, which I'm going to go into more detail in a moment, is not something you normally see in a tropical storm, and I'll explain why in just a moment. So this low pressure system, Andrea, will lift north and east and make landfall over the panhandle of Florida this evening and lift up into the southeast. Now, when a tropical system moves over land, it weakens and eventually becomes what's called extratropical. So I know you see these signals right here suggesting a tropical storm off the New Jersey coast. By the time this storm gets over here off the New Jersey coast tomorrow night, it will no longer be tropical and will primarily be a heavy rain event. There will be strong winds with this storm, but I think for the most part we're dealing with the potential for very heavy rainfall here, not so much wind damage or coastal flooding. This low pressure system and this trough, which I'll go into more detail in a moment, are key players here. Depending how they interact with the moisture here and where that moisture field sets up will determine whether or not the Philadelphia metropolitan area and New York City metropolitan area ends up with 1 to 3 inches of rain or 4 to 6 inches of rain. So let's get a little bit more of a close-up view with this storm with the radar here. Notice with Andrea, it's not a true circular storm, okay? What we have here is an asymmetrical storm, but the majority of the precipitation and heavy rainfall on the eastern side of the circulation here. So where this lifts northward will determine who gets the heaviest rainfall over the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Obviously, the further west you go, the best chance you have of not being influenced by this heavy rainfall. The closer you are to the coast, the better chance you have of seeing rainfall amounts over 4 inches. Meanwhile, you can see our other storm organizing. We already see showers lifting north. These showers will reach the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area by this evening, relatively weak in nature, certainly nowhere near the type of rainfall we'll see tomorrow afternoon and evening, but they are the leading edge to a trough that's approaching that will pick up all of this tropical moisture here over Florida. Now, when we zoom in to our tropical storm here, I took off all the decals and I just wanted to show you the actual structure of this storm. You see this right here? That's dry air. Dry air is not beneficial for the development of a tropical storm. So I think we've pretty much seen the peak intensity of Andrea, which is right here. The center's right here. The reason why this tropical storm was able to strengthen rapidly last night is that winds died out. Okay, the shearing winds that were influencing the storm died out, and it was moving over very warm tropical waters in the Gulf of Mexico and was able to rapidly intensify. That intensification period is over. So the key point here is, where does this move? If this moves off of the coast, then the heaviest rains will be focused off the coast. As you can see here, we don't see a lot of rainfall wrapping onto the western side of this circulation. And models typically overplay the potential for widespread heavy rainfall with tropical systems on the western side of these circulations. That isn't to say that we won't see heavy rain, but it's harder to get that widespread 5-6 inch type rainfall in this type of scenario. Is it possible? Yes. But it's something that we're going to have to watch evolve over the next 24 hours. On the water vapor satellite picture, let me pull that up here. You can see that even more clearly. Now, what I have in place here are the upper level winds, our tropical system here, and our surface cold fronts. Notice our trough here is starting to go negatively tilt. You see the winds in the upper levels basically lifting from the Gulf of Mexico all the way up the East Coast. So there's no doubt that moisture is going to be lifted northward. The question is, how does the interaction of this trough work with this low pressure system? When they interact, will that western side of this rain shield fill in much like the eastern side here? Because notice the trajectory here would take that off the coast. So the question in our forecast is whether or not this western side of the low pressure system expands and interacts with this drier air coming in, leading to very heavy rainfall right along the coast, and thus leading to this forecast from the HPC. Notice 2 to 4 inches plus. Right now I'm going with that forecast. I think as you head into eastern Pennsylvania, more likely to see around 2 inches of rain. As you head towards the coast, more likely to see 4 inches of rain. If that heavy band of rain shifts off the coast, then basically take this whole forecast and shift it east. I think everyone sees at least an inch of rain out of this. That's easily done. The question is whether we see up to 4 inches or higher due to the tropical heavy rainfall. And I think the worst of this rainfall is going to be tomorrow night on through Saturday morning. There's no doubt in my mind we're going to be dealing with flash flooding throughout the entire Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. Keep an eye on northeastern New Jersey. That could get rather tricky up there, especially with the Passaic River, especially if we see rainfall amounts over 3 inches over these locations. So again, I do think we're going to see very heavy rainfall. Whether we see over 4 inches of rainfall will depend on whether or not that heavy band of rain with our tropical storm remains off the coast or shifts off the coast over the Atlantic Ocean. So here is our forecast from the European Model Guidance. Again, for this evening, you can see that trough picking up this tropical disturbance, or should I say tropical storm Andrea. It will become extratropical over the next 48 hours. So by the time this low pressure system reaches the Virginia coast by tomorrow evening, it will generally become extratropical in nature. It won't be full tropical, but it really won't matter because the key point here is going to be all the heavy rainfall. So tomorrow night, the heaviest rainfall will develop. It will be widespread. It will reduce visibility significantly. Winds will be from the southeast, anywhere from 15 to 30 miles per hour, gusting over 40 miles per hour in embedded thunderstorms. There will be a moderate threat for coastal flooding as well with this storm. However, unlike our previous hurricane, which is nowhere near what this storm is, this storm is nowhere near anything like Sandy. Key difference here, winds are going to be from the southeast and then veer to the northwest, driving water away from the coastal plain on Saturday morning. So nowhere near anything like the coastal flooding we saw with Sandy. There will be some moderate coastal flooding, very heavy rainfall, definitely the potential for flash flooding, but I think the wind threat will be basically like a strong nor'easter. On Saturday, those showers linger over the region. We're going to see the potential for a few scattered showers producing heavy downpours on through Saturday evening. Not a complete washout on Saturday afternoon and evening, but certainly not the driest of days. Sunday is going to be your best day of the weekend with variable cloud cover, still an isolated shot of a shower or thunderstorm, but for the most part dry. Temperatures throughout this period on Friday will range from the upper 60s to lower 70s along the immediate coast, mid to upper 70s over the Philadelphia and New York City metropolitan area. On Saturday, look for temperatures in the mid to upper 70s along the coast, specifically around Long Island, upper 70s to lower 80s in the New York City metropolitan area, and mid 80s in the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And then on Sunday, look at temperatures in the upper 70s to lower 80s along the coast, mid to upper 80s away from the coast. By the time we get to Monday, we're going to continue to deal with a few scattered showers with another approaching disturbance moving through the region. So a wet period of weather, that is for sure, for the start of next week as well, with scattered showers and thunderstorms. Temperatures, again, ranging pretty much in the mid to upper 70s along the coast, upper 70s to lower 80s over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. And then we finally dry out on Wednesday with scattered cloud cover and temperatures in the mid to upper 70s along the coast and upper 70s to lower 80s away from the coast. That is your forecast discussion for today. Of course, I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. I'll have the latest weather information on Andrea and the potential for very heavy rainfall at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.